Most owners think their dog is fine. The food is there, the walks happen, the household runs, and the dog is present in it, moving through the day, sleeping, occasionally interacting. The basics are covered. The dog is not suffering in any visible way. What most owners do not see is the specific behavioral signal of a dog whose day is not providing enough. Not enough mental engagement, not enough meaningful interaction, not enough of the specific stimulation that keeps a dog's nervous system healthy rather than just fed and housed. The signs of that deficit are not dramatic. They are behavioral, the specific repeatable outputs of a dog whose needs are not being met, and they are easy to explain away as personality, as breed quirk, as just the way she is, until you know what they actually are. Then they read differently, every time. The first sign is the destruction that appears at the same time every day. Not random chewing, not opportunistic destruction. The destruction that happens at a specific, predictable window, usually late morning or late afternoon, with a consistency that looks, once you notice it, less like chaos and more like a schedule. That consistency is information. Her nervous system has a peak activation window, a point in the day when the energy that should be going into engagement, play, or stimulation has nowhere to go, and it goes into the available environment instead. The couch cushion, the shoe, the corner of the rug. Not because she is bad, because the energy required an outlet and the outlet she found was what was available. The destruction is not the problem. The destruction is the symptom of an unmet need that arrives at the same time every day, because her biology is that consistent. Address the need with a walk, a training session, a puzzle feeder, at the window before the destruction. The destruction stops having a reason to occur. The second sign is excessive barking at nothing. She is barking. You look for the cause, the window, the yard, the door, and there is nothing there. No visible trigger, no obvious threat. Just the sustained, sometimes rhythmic vocalization of a dog who is generating sound, because generating sound is something to do. Boredom barking is distinguished from alert barking by what comes before it and what comes after. Alert barking is triggered, directional, responsive. It stops or shifts when the trigger is addressed. Boredom barking emerges from stillness, from underoccupation, from the specific restlessness of an animal whose brain is not being used and has defaulted to the most stimulating available behavior, which is producing a sound and waiting to see what it generates. It almost always generates an owner response, which is attention, which is the thing the barking was at some level trying to produce. The third sign is the demand behavior that escalates. She nudges your hand. You respond. She nudges again. You respond again. The nudging becomes pawing. The pawing becomes vocalization. The vocalization becomes the particular persistence of a dog who has learned that escalating the behavior escalates the response. This is the piece most owners miss entirely. Demand behavior is not rudeness. It is a dog using the communication tools available to her to address a legitimate need, connection, engagement, stimulation, that is not being proactively met. The escalation tells you two things. The need is real, and she has not yet been given a better way to communicate it. The response that helps is not rewarding the demand. That teaches her the escalation works, but proactively meeting the need before the demand begins. A dog whose engagement needs are being met does not need to demand engagement. The nudge is a late signal. Address the need before the nudge. The fourth sign is the pacing that has no destination. She moves through the house, room to room, circuit to circuit, without settling. Not anxiously, not reactively, but with the low-level, restless movement of an animal whose nervous system is activated and has nothing to activate toward. She is looking for something to do, and the environment is not providing it. Behavioral observation of dogs in under-enriched environments has found that locomotor restlessness, movement without apparent goal or destination, is one of the most consistent behavioral indicators of insufficient mental and physical stimulation. She is not being difficult. What helps is not waiting for her to settle. It is giving the restlessness somewhere to go, a training session, a sniff walk, a foraging activity that channels the energy that is currently driving the pacing into something with an object and an end. The fifth sign is the sudden interest in you the moment you pick up your phone. You were available and she was not particularly engaged. You picked up your phone, signaling through the universal human gesture that your attention has been redirected, and suddenly she is beside you, paw on your leg, face in your line of sight, determined to recover the attention she was not seeking 30 seconds ago. She is not being contrary. She is responding to the specific social signal that your attentional shift represents. The person who was present is now elsewhere, and her nervous system is registering the loss of the engagement she was not fully using, but was apparently relying on. The sudden interest is the measurement of the baseline she needed from you. It tells you that your presence, even passive presence, even the presence of someone in the room not fully attending to her, was providing something her nervous system was using. The phone is the mirror that shows you what it was worth. The sixth sign is the regression in training behaviors she previously knew. She knew sit. She knew stay. She performed these reliably for a period and now performs them unreliably, with the distracted, uninterested quality of a dog who is not motivated by the interaction the training provides. Training behavior requires engagement. It requires a dog whose brain is available for the task, not overstimulated, not understimulated, not so accustomed to the absence of mental demand that the mental demand of training has stopped being interesting. A dog who has been cognitively underemployed for long enough begins to lose the specific motivated engagement that made training easy. Reintroducing novelty, new environments, new behaviors, new challenges, often recovers the engagement faster than repeating known behaviors in the same context. Her brain is not broken, it is under-challenged. Give it something genuinely new to work on. The seventh sign, the one that is hardest to name, is the quality of her greeting when you come home. Not the absence of greeting, not the dramatic change, the specific dimming of the greeting compared to what it used to be, the slightly reduced intensity, the slightly shorter duration, the quality of engagement that has dropped from what it was in the months when the day was fuller. The greeting is one of the most reliable barometers of a dog's overall emotional baseline. A dog whose days are genuinely satisfying greets with the specific fullness of an animal whose cup is reasonably full, whose baseline is high enough to generate the overflow that produces the full body, nothing held back welcome. A dog whose days are not providing enough greets from a lower baseline. The greeting is still there. It is just not as much. That dimming is worth taking seriously, not as evidence of something broken, as the early signal of a dog whose daily provision of stimulation, engagement, and meaningful interaction has dropped below what she needs, and who is telling you in the quietest available way that she needs more. Most owners respond to the signs of boredom with the things that are most obvious and most convenient: a longer walk, an extra treat, a few minutes of the game she likes. These are not wrong. They are insufficient as long-term solutions because boredom in dogs is not a one-day deficit that one day's enrichment resolves. It is a structural gap in the daily provision of mental stimulation, meaningful interaction, and the specific engagement that keeps a dog's nervous system genuinely healthy. The fix is structural too, not a single intervention, a daily one. She does not need more of everything. She needs more of the specific things her nervous system actually runs on: sniffing, problem-solving, genuine interaction, the particular engagement of a brain that is being used rather than merely housed. Give her that, consistently. Not on the days you notice the signs, on the days before the signs had any reason to appear. Which of the 7 felt most like something you recognize in your dog? And is there one enrichment change you have already made that helped? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.